I saw a hospital when I was there just as a tour, and it was grim. It was gross. And that was the hospital they were willing to show us. Imagine what the hospital that everyone goes to
Yeah.
looks like. There was no patients there. So you knew that was like for show only.
Yeah.
Equipment from the 80s, stains on things, no bustle. You know, in a hospital here, it's busy. There
Yeah.
it was like they just opened it so we could look in there, and there was probably nobody even working in there.
I mean, the country where even Haesan is one of the major cities. In the hospital, they ask us to bring us our own needles. But if you cannot afford a needle, right, we are very poor. They use one needle to inject everybody.
Oh, gosh.
And we don't have actually drops. So they use a beer bottle from the trash and they use that as a drop.
As like an IV?
IV,
So you're getting an IV
from the beer
from an
bottle.
empty beer bottle.
Yeah, and also people don't have beds. We don't have the sanitary pads or any of that. So you just rip up your clothes or anything you can find and like make sure that you don't bleed. And that's how real like free healthcare looks like.
Right.
And in the operations in North Korea, they don't give you anesthesia. I removed my appendix without anesthesia. And in North Korea, it's very common to have a surgery without painkiller.
Oh my gosh.
So this is like what free healthcare does to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had a child here in the United States. Was the appendix surgery more painful than giving birth?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Has to be, right?
right, there was I think they gave me some painkiller because my mom bribed them, but it was a very weak one. It was not a real like anesthesia for
Right.
surgery.
Yeah, you got like a headache medicine or
Something
something.
like that.
Sorry, I don't mean to
So,
laugh. It's
no.
horrible.
I mean, now I'm thinking about it. It is kind of funny in 21st century you go something like that, right?
Yeah. You must be really tough though.
I mean, like if the pain is too much, you lose your conscious, and then you come back, lose it, and come back, and it's just. But like in North Korea, that's why they use crystal meth and opium as a cold medicine.
As a cold medicine.
Yeah,
Does it work?
it does help temper.
Have you tried it?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
But all my friends became drug addict.
Oh, really?
That's how the regime makes money, right? They sell the missiles, nukes to Syria, Iran, other countries, and they sell their people, and one of them is selling those drugs, crystal meth and opium.
Have you seen The Mole?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was on the show as well.
Oh,
Ulrich.
yeah, it's amazing.
He is really like a crazy brave guy.
Yeah, so brave.
For people who haven't seen that, I'll list the episode in the show notes, but this guy went undercover talking with North Korean arms dealers in China and in other countries about selling drugs, missiles, and things like that to countries like Syria, Iran.
Yeah.
So
All the Middle Eastern countries, they buy missiles from North Korea.
yeah, it's how they generate hard currency for the regime. So a lot of people probably don't really understand why there's no food, right? It's like you have some farmland. How can there be no food? What about food aid? Why was there a famine? It's complicated, but can you take us through
Yeah.
why that might be the case? Because it wasn't always the case there that there was no food, right?
So 60s, 70s, there are some people dying from starvation, but not in like millions. The millions of deaths began in the 90s from starvation. That's when I was born, after Soviet Union collapsed. So North Korea, the nature is a collectivism, right? You do not own anything. There's no private property. It's socialist country, socialist paradise. So anybody cannot own anything. Therefore, entire land is owned by the regime. So when you farm in a collective farm, after the harvest, the regime takes the entire crop away from you. And they supposedly give you the public ration,
Right.
but they don't give you. So you worked in the farm entire year, right? I mean, that's like that we call job replacement. And then takes the harvest away, then regime don't gives you food. And then tell you be self-reliant. Find you always to survive, but if you trade, it's illegal, so they send you prison and kill you.
Right.
And then why would they not feed you is because, Kim Jong-il said during the famine that it's easy to do socialism when there are less people.
So he was thinking, let's just kill a bunch of people and then socialism will work better?
And also, and then people, when they're starving, right, you are not going to thinking about the meaning of life.
Right.
Or like freedom. If you are starving right now, like in North Korea, how daily life goes that if you eat breakfast, you worry about lunch. If you make it to dinner, you think, okay, I made one more day here. How am I going to survive tomorrow? So every constant second you're thinking about your survival and finding food. So people are so occupied. And that's why it's better for the regime to having a population that's constantly starving, like Hunger Games.
Yes,
Exactly, Hunger Games.
exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
it's keeping people on the back foot, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was there, one of the times that I was there were no students anywhere. And then when we went on a bus trip to Wonsan or wherever we were going, you could see the fields were full of people. Whereas the last time I was there were no people. And our guide sort of told us in confidence that all of the people in the fields were the college students
Mm.
because they have to leave school and go harvest.
Study. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the mobilization.
Yeah,
So
mobilization.
even
yeah.
7 years old have to start work.
7-year-olds.
Yeah, we don't have the word for minors. We have a word for revolutionaries. Everybody's revolutionary. So even when you are kids, like 5 years old, you need to work in the farm and the railways. So even elementary school, pre-K, middle school, high school, college, adult, every single one of us have to do the forced labor every single day. That's why entire country is a labor camp.
Yeah.
Entire country is a camp. So we have to go several months in the harvest season, and also where the plant the seeds in the summer, and then in the winter we have to go hunting the poop because they don't have the harvest.
So
I mean the
people
fertilizers.
people
right?
want to know what the poop hunting is, though, right? I've heard you talk about this, but people are like, she didn't just say hunting poop, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about hunting poop. This is so
So
weird.
I know, like in North Korea, literally nothing to throw away, including your poop and pee. So governments gives this quota. They are so poor they cannot even afford the fertilizer. The country makes long missile like test, ICBM. They cannot make the fertilizer. So they ask people, give them quota. Like in your family, if you are 4 people in the family, bring 1 ton of poop in January.
How is that possible? I mean, does a family of 4 make 1 ton of poop each year?
No, and you're not
No.
even, you don't even poop once a month if you are starved there.
point.
You don't poop at all there, right?
So weird. What are they
So-
expecting?
So that's why we have to go steal poop
Yeah.
and hunting for poop. And thieves, there are poop thieves. And in the black
Oh my God.
market, they sell poop.
So that you can make your quota.
So rich people, the government officials, they have money, they go black market and buy the poop and then meet their quota. Otherwise, they're gonna get punished.
That is so, like, letting that sink in is so frigging bizarre, right? Like, the idea that you have to collect something that most of us would never want to touch, and you're stealing it from other people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, it's that is a perfect sort of analogy for the economic state of North Korea.
It's like complete hell. Like
Mhm.
if there's a here, that's what it would look like.
Yeah.
Imagine 21st century human beings looking for like finding poop, hunting it an entire day, right? And if you don't meet your quota, you get punished. Imagine that. It just, I mean, that is the contemporary world that we are living in. That's why the UN says it's a Holocaust. It's a modern day Holocaust.
The UN doesn't seem like they're doing a whole hell of a lot to help North Korea. I remember you saying that you gave a talk or were giving a talk, and they sat you next to the North Korean delegation, which is horrific to even think about.
But they thought geographically very close.
Unbelievable. So did the
They're-
delegation say anything to you?
Of course, there's 5 something guys.
Yeah.
Their delegation, or maybe 3 guys. In North Korea, everybody have to spy on each other. So it's got a minimum 3 people.
Mhm.
Because if I'm spying on you, so you are spying on that person have to be spying on me. So it's gotta be that way. I'm spied
Mhm.
and I'm spying on somebody. So they always send 3 people, not 2 people. Because if it's 2, it's to like
Conspire.
come spy and then run or something. So 3 people always.
Oof.
And that's why I think the delegation got 3 to 5 people next to me, and they were swearing at me North Korean. I mean, nobody understands North Korean swearing. Yeah.
That's unbelievably callous and unthinking of them to. I assume you're not super big on the United Nations bailing out the people of North Korea.
I mean, of course. I mean, like this morning, the Queen and Elizabeth in the Britain, they congratulated for North Korean regime to finding their party like on the September 9th, this week when during the military parade.
Ugh.
The Queen says congratulations. So imagine if there's a dictator alive, like the Hitler is alive. Right now, these people in the leader of this free world are sending the congratulation note.
That's crazy. How have we not isolated this whole thing? The sunshine policy is just not proven effective, right? Treating them with the kid gloves has never worked. So when you're a kid and you're still in North Korea, you're collecting bugs and roasting them with lighters and things like that to feed yourself, right? To eat dragonflies and grasshoppers out of desperation. That's sort of like the picture of this. I assume you have to turn your heart off when you're there to the plight of people around you.
I mean, when you are born, seeing is suffering is in front of your eyes. So you don't even think that's unusual, right? It's like, it's a very, so that's like exactly the George Orwell's Animal Farm. In the first generation, they know. They lived before the revolution. They knew the time that was different. But when it comes to third ones, the new animals, they have no idea what the alternative life would be look like. That's why, like, if you don't know you are enslaved, how do you fight to be free? Like, North Korean people now who's living there have no clue. I mean, I've never even seen the map of the world.
When you were there, you never saw a map of the world.
I never even knew that I was Asian. They told me that I was Kim Il Sung race.
You know now, though, I assume.
Now I do.
Okay.
They told me that I was Kim Il Sung race.
Yeah.
And the North Korean calendar begins when Kim Il Sung was born. I don't even know what Jesus Christ is.
Right.
So you are completely isolated. And that's why I just never even knew that seeing dead bodies on the streets and people are starving was something unusual. You know, I thought that was like a normal thing.